In the early United States, tariffs were crucial for protecting new industries from European competition. The Tariff of 1789, signed by President Washington, aimed to generate revenue and encourage domestic production. By making imports more expensive, tariffs gave American manufacturers a chance to grow and invest at home. This protectionist approach, championed by Alexander Hamilton, was seen as vital for national security and prosperity. Tariffs helped finance the government and fostered industrial growth, especially in the North. They fueled the first and second industrial revolutions, allowing industries like textiles, steel, and railroads to flourish. The U.S. transformed from an agrarian society into a manufacturing powerhouse, creating jobs and building cities. Modern proponents of tariffs often point to this era as proof of their effectiveness. However, today's globalized economy is vastly different, and the challenges facing American manufacturers have changed. The solutions of the past may not fit the realities of the present. Understanding this history is key to any discussion about tariffs and American industry. Early tariffs created a protected environment where American innovation thrived. Inventions like Eli Whitney's cotton gin and interchangeable parts revolutionized manufacturing. The Bessemer process made steel cheap and abundant, fueling railroads and skyscrapers. Henry Ford's assembly line made cars affordable for millions, transforming American life. Low business costs, thanks to abundant resources and minimal regulation, made U.S. goods highly competitive. This era built a strong middle class and turned America into the world's workshop. But today, the cost structure has changed dramatically. New societal priorities and regulations have fundamentally altered the landscape for American manufacturers. Today, U.S. manufacturers face high costs due to strict environmental regulations. The EPA enforces laws like the Clean Air and Water Acts, requiring expensive pollution controls and waste treatment. Compliance adds significant costs that didn't exist in the past. Energy policies and chemical regulations further increase expenses for factories. These rules protect public health and the environment, but make American goods more expensive than those from countries with looser standards. Tariffs on imports don't reduce these domestic costs, they just shift the burden to consumers. The real challenge is balancing environmental goals with economic competitiveness. Ignoring these internal costs misses a major part of the manufacturing puzzle. Another major cost for U.S. manufacturers is the employer-based healthcare system. Unlike other developed nations, American companies directly fund employee health insurance. This adds tens of millions in annual expenses for large manufacturers. For example, General Motors once spent more on healthcare per car than on steel. Foreign competitors in countries with socialized healthcare don't face this burden. Rising healthcare costs make it harder for U.S. firms to compete and hire. Tariffs can't solve this problem, it's a domestic policy issue. Any serious plan to revive manufacturing must address healthcare costs. Without reform, American companies will remain at a disadvantage. Modern tariffs mostly act as a tax on American consumers and businesses. Tariffs raise costs for U.S. manufacturers who rely on imported materials, making their products more expensive. The real obstacles to manufacturing growth are high domestic costs from regulations and healthcare, not just foreign competition. Tariffs don't fix these root issues, they're a blunt tool that misses the real problem. A better strategy is to streamline regulations and reform healthcare, lowering costs for American businesses. Rewarding innovation and simplifying permitting can help manufacturers thrive. Shifting healthcare costs away from employers would make U.S. companies more competitive globally. Tariffs worked in a different era, but today's challenges require new solutions. Revitalizing American manufacturing means fixing internal problems, not just raising barriers at the border. By lowering domestic costs, we can help U.S. industry innovate and compete worldwide. This message brought to you by the United States Preservation Society.